This video, I'm going to be sharing with you the truth on the law of attraction, time, and your past. This is going to be a totally new perspective that I think can really allow you to let go of your story in a completely new way so that you start to create what you want easier than ever. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the truth on the law of attraction, what we perceive to be the past, and time in general. Now, this is something that I have noticed throughout all of personal development. And it is something that you may hear from someone like Tony Robbins, for example, where he talks about how our story is creating our life experience. This is about understanding the Eastern philosophy of letting go and how and why that can be so powerful for us allowing the moment to be, understanding that the only moment that really does exist anyways is this moment right now, because when it was the past, it was still the now moment. It was just from a different point of view. And when the future gets here, it will still be the now moment. So the power in this is on many different levels, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in today's video. What I'm about to share with you is a model, a way for seeing the world that allows us and gives us permission to know that we are always changing, and that as we change, so does the other side of the spectrum when it comes to the future probabilities and the past experiences. When we start to really, in a way, absorb this kind of information and this understanding, it really lets us let go of what no longer serves. So, with this process, it's about understanding parallel realities. What quantum physics is showing us is that there is an infinite number of parallel realities that exist. That what we think of as time is the movement through these different parallel realities. Now, like I was saying a minute ago, the now moment is the only moment that does exist. The only thing that changes is the perspective of the now moment, because when it was the past, it was the now moment. You have never actually experienced the past. The past is an idea that we recall using our memory, and the future is something we can imagine using our imagination. But we don't experience the past because it's just a thought in our mind, and we don't experience the future because it's just a thought in our mind. But by the time it gets here, the perspective we have, it is the now moment. Now, this is where Eastern philosophy comes in. It kind of swoops us off our feet, and we become aware that what we can do is allow the moment to be. Because if in this moment right now we are thinking of a past experience of something we regret, then what we are doing is bringing that vibration of regret from the past into the now moment. And as we recall it using our mind, our memory, we are then resonating with that same vibration of that past experience, and therefore creating a potentiality of us also having a future probability of that same thing. Most people are on autopilot with the law of attraction, with life in general. They're thinking the same thoughts they thought yesterday, not aware of it, therefore creating the same things over and over again. If we think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, and do the same actions every single day, we will always get the same results. So the key for so many people, and what I really love talking about on this channel, is waking up from that unconsciousness. Waking up from that autopilot mind, because the more you wake up from that autopilot mind, the more you're going to be able to create from a very authentic place and a higher vibrational place. Most people's vibration is simply in a certain rhythm based upon those past experiences and how they identify themselves. Now, in general, with this process, here is the cool idea about understanding parallel realities and what we understand about in quantum physics about this process. Now, anytime we remember something from the past. We take that thought, that memory, out of the memory bank. We look at that memory, and as we look at that memory, we slightly change the memory. We overlay our opinions and our beliefs over it, and we look at it and we slightly change it, or we dramatically change it. Then what we do is we put it back in the memory bank when we're done looking at it. And when we put it back in the memory bank, we have changed the memory. It is different than what it was before. Now, most people are unconsciously thinking of certain things that happened in the past hundreds of times a month, maybe even more. That one thing that happened that shouldn't have happened, or whatever it is. And every time they look at it, they slightly change it until eventually it's a completely different past memory. But nonetheless, that memory intertwines with a story that they tell themselves that continues to play itself out. So, for example, a memory of a boyfriend or girlfriend breaking up with them. They remember it, how it happened, why it happened. They have these beliefs and opinions over it. They're not worthy, or they shouldn't have done this. There's maybe a certain victimization type rule or role to it. So they play that story over and over again, feeling the same vibrations of it, and then they attract someone else into their life that maybe has the same kind of pattern because it hasn't been consciously looked at and let go and allowed. It's simply on autopilot. Now, here is the thing, and here's one of the main points of this whole entire video. In the present moment right now, we can project, and using our imagination, maybe using and even being in tune with ourselves, we can look at probabilities of what we could experience in the future. Those probabilities are not set. They change as we change in the present moment. The only moment that does exist is this moment right here. Now, those probabilities change as we change. Anytime you go to a psychic or a clairvoyant person, your future is not set. However, there are certain momentums to where something may be probable to happen, but that changes the moment you become aware of it if you decide to let it go. You can shift to any reality you want that is relevant for you. Key word there, relevant for you. And as long as you follow your passion, you will end up there where you want to be. You'll be following the path of least resistance. Now, in the same way that those probabilities are changing, your past we think of as set because we have memory of it. But what you experienced in the past was one potentiality of that version of you. There was a version of you that got broken up by the boyfriend or girlfriend. There was a version of you that broke up with that boyfriend or girlfriend. There was a version of you that is still with that boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever it is. Those all exist. But based on the identity of how we are being in the present moment, we pull upon certain past probabilities that seem relevant, but the past is changing in the same way that the probabilities for the future are changing. It's just that we tie in so much to our identity, that we don't understand that it is changing. But our past is changing as we change. Now, here's the powerful part of this. If our past is changing, we don't have to identify with these same things that have always happened. Here's a mantra that if you use in your life will totally transform your life. I am not the result of my past. I am not the result of my past experiences, my past probabilities of what I quote unquote experienced. I am who I choose to be in the present moment, right now. I am not the result of the past experiences, the story that I tell myself. I am who I choose to be in this moment right now. And the more that you embody who you really are right now, the more you can let go of whatever story you were telling yourself or whatever past experiences that come up. In the present moment, there are past potentialities and future potentialities, all based on what's relevant. When people say that they had a past life somewhere, what they really mean Maybe they don't know this. This isn't something, but when you look at it from the point of quantum physics and what we understand, that past experience exists right now because everything exists here and now. It's simply from a different point of view and from a different perspective. It's like a film strip. You have a film strip, you have a movie, you can lay out all the different frames and look at them, but they all exist right now. It's simply the light of consciousness is going through different frames at a certain rate. But they all exist right now. So when someone connects to a quote-unquote past life, they are really connecting to what is called a parallel incarnation of someone that exists right now that's simply connected at a soul level. It may be a different version of someone's oversoul. Someone's oversoul connected, there's different souls, which are actually the same soul, but it's from a different perspective. So there really is no past life, future life. Those change as we change. We may be in a certain level of consciousness, in a certain theme of our life, and you may hear someone go through a certain experience with someone that maybe is taking advantage of them, right? Maybe it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, someone's taking advantage of them, it's a relationship they want to get out of, and so someone tells them, hey, that person knew you in a past life. That person took advantage of you in a past life as well. Well, really, in the energy stream right now, there's different potentialities to connect to on each side. So in the moment right now, that may be something that you can look to, but as you change, as you take back your power, and new situations come in your life, your past changes as well. We're all connected. We are one consciousness that is all connected in a very powerful way. You are so much more than you can even imagine. We're simply dreaming that this is who we are. But in the same way that our potentialities for what could happen in the future is changing, our past is changing as well. It's just a little bit harder to grasp because we think our memories are so set. Our memories are nothing but one perspective of one parallel reality that we experienced, that we remember, but nonetheless, it is one part of that. There's ways of reconnecting to different reference experiences of the past. Here's another idea. As your state of being changes right now in the present moment, maybe as you become aware that maybe you feel very confident on top of the world. When you're feeling confident on top of the world, if I were to ask you to remember parts of your past where you were also confident on top of the world, or anything in general that is related to feeling confident, it would be very easy for you because the neurosynaptic connections in your brain will go through the passive least resistance, and because you're feeling that emotion, it naturally goes to those memories, those past experiences that resonate with it. On the other side of that, if you're feeling negative, sad, disempowered, and I were to ask you to remember times you were confident, it would be very hard to do because the momentum of thoughts, the neurosynaptic connections in the brain, is wired differently. But both positive memories of feeling confident and disempowered memories of the past exist right now. Which one are you going to connect to will depend upon your state of being and how you are recalling those memories out of the past. But remember that those memories are just one potentiality. You are an infinite spiritual being having a temporary human experience. There's an infinite number of parallel realities that exist, and you can let go of your story with the simple understanding you are not the result of your past, you are who you choose to be in the present moment. There are three main archetypes for how people see themselves when it comes to these stories that we tell ourselves. There's the story of the hero, the person that is making things happen, that is able to achieve things, that is able to help other people. There is the victim, the one that everything has happened to them, the one that feels like the world isn't working for them, the one that needs to be saved, the one that's looking for handouts. These aren't bad or good, I'm just explaining the different archetypes. There's the villain, the bad guy, the girl that's not so nice. The villain is the one that may somehow get off or feel good about being a certain way that sometimes gets attention. but it may be in a negative type light from a certain perspective. Now, these three archetypes are different stories we may tell ourselves. They're the three general ones. What story are you telling yourself? Which ones do you identify the most with those? They're not good or bad, they just are. But be aware of it. Because if so, you may be just focusing on memories of the past that resonate with that archetype. And the more you look at it and the more you let it go, the more it no longer becomes something that projects itself into the future. Remember, you are not the result of your past. You are who you choose to be in the present moment right now. In the same way that your potential futures are changing based on how you change, your pasts, your potential pasts are also changing. So remember that, because you don't have to continue to tell yourself the same story. You don't have to continue to identify with the same past experiences. You can choose to be who you are in the present moment. The easiest way to do all of this is to allow those memories to surface. Don't resist them. Look at them, allow them to be there, and then let them go. It is so simple that sometimes people bypass it or they disregard it. To let go of our past experience, all we have to do is look at it, observe it, and let it go. Allow it to be there. If we have a memory we don't think should have been there, we feel resistance and we hold it in place, and then we project it off into the future and experience the same thing. Allow it to be there, and your past is transformed. I had to become aware, and I had to allow a lot of the stuff I went through growing up, a lot of the child abuse. I had to allow it to be there, to look at it, to not resist it. Why me? I had the victim mentality, the victim story. And I transformed that, I reframed it into more of a hero type archetype. I started to see that I could transform it, that I could help other people let go of their past experiences that were holding them back. Take their power back. That's the story. I moved my story, and now as I look to my past, it's hard for me to even identify with many parts of my past. But I recognize them as one potentiality, but I realize I am who I choose to be in the present moment right now. You can do the same thing by becoming aware of your past, allowing it to be there, choosing to let it go, knowing your past is changing anyways, and then just reaffirm you are who you choose to be in the present moment. Take action, feel emotion, think thoughts that are in alignment with the best version of you, and you will shift to the reality you want easier than ever. Now, something else I'll be doing is more live Q&As on Instagram. So if you want to ask me questions, if you want to interact with me more, I also post daily content over there. I'm going to go ahead and link it right below. I also have a guided meditation that will help you to raise your vibrational set point. This is absolutely free. If you listen to this for 21 days, I think it'll absolutely change your life and allow you to live from a completely new base point. It's going to be in the top of the description box below. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little notification gear on the subscribe button so that you can see the daily vids that I do. The way YouTube does things now is you actually have to hit that button to see that. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.